G'day, and welcome to the Best of the Rest F1 podcast with Sticks and Fraser. Tune in weekly to hear everything Formula One.
Howdy. Welcome back to the Best of the Rest podcast with your hosts, Sticks and
Fraser.
Imola race review time, mate. We've just had, what was quite an action-packed weekend, even though going into it, the expectations were low.
Yeah, people talk about it being a second Monaco, but I thought we had a decent race this one.
I was impressed. So we had Max Verstappen winning the Grand Prix from Norris and Piastri. So we had a little bit of a different result than what everyone was expecting going into it. And it definitely wasn't a snooze fest.
No, great move there by the reigning world champ. He snuck around the outside of Piastri and hung it out to dry.
Talk us through it. Turn one.
Turn one, they all kind of get away nicely. Good start. Piastri's on pole. Verstappen's coming in from second. Russell's pressuring the back of Piastri on third. Having a little bit of a look up the inside. Piastri covers the racing line and the expected lunge on the inside, but Verstappen goes wheel to wheel around the outside and holds it round 2 and 3, and off he goes. Makes Piastri concede and just elite driving.
It just came from absolutely nowhere.
Oh, he lunged from so far back, and to hang around the outside with essentially cold tyres, and
unbelievable.
Great move.
Like live, I was like, okay, well, Piastri's got George covered and Verstappen's a little bit too far back. Like he could actually lose a position here. And then he just was super late on the brakes and just made it stick. Honestly, it'd have to be the best turn one corner overtake I think I've seen.
You got balls the size of coconuts, that man.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was, an article come out today with Horner more or less saying that he loved Max's approach of either a win it or bin it on the first corner.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where it was at. Like, Piastri gave him the room and he could have shut the door, but yeah, they, unbelievable.
Yeah, it was always kind of said to be one of those tracks where it's the track position that's going to be the game changer and key to the race, which it was, but there was still a lot of overtakes. There's quite a few that I saw that I quite enjoyed, and didn't think it was too bad of a race at all. Pretty disappointing actually that it's already starting to get put into the rotation and could get fallen off the calendar.
Yeah, well, that got mentioned a lot throughout the broadcast, which I wasn't actually personally aware of. But yeah, it seems like Imola may not be on the calendar next year. Yeah,
I think there's no kind of lock in that Imola will be there. I think they've already put it into the rotation that they've started speaking about, that because there's so many countries and circuits that are worthy of a spot on the F1 calendar, that they're going to do a bit of a rotation through a few of the tracks.
And I guess if Imola is typically known for not producing the most exciting racing, then F1 are going to be probably leaning towards cutting tracks like that for the time being to try and bring the most exciting racing to the sport. So, but, weekend just gone proved that there's plenty of action to be had there, especially if the right tyre compounds are in use for the weekend and spices it up somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. You've always got to pick what's best for the viewers and best for the drivers. It's entertaining and challenging and hosts some high-quality action, but from the one we just saw, and I can't really think of too many that were absolutely boring, but I don't know. It would be disappointing if it does fully drop off, but we'll wait and see.
Well, I think Pirelli did a good job this weekend in actually making a somewhat aggressive tyre call for this weekend to try and spice the race up. So they went a step softer this year than what they did last year. So the medium was last year's qualifying tyre. And it did seem to sort of result in a few mixed strategies to keep the race sort of interesting.
Yeah, and I even in quali, I saw a few people running the mediums and putting in some pretty good times. I think it might have been Russell that got through one of the early qualies using a medium, and even the Astons, when they bumped both Ferraris in Q2 to not go through to Q3, both Astons were running medium tyres, so they got into the Q3 on mediums, and they were looking quick. Actually, they were showing some good pace there, the Astons.
I think, well, like just the change from the hard tyre not being a tyre that drivers could see a whole race out on is probably a good place to start in spicing up the strategies. Like most of the time, it's you heard a lot of radio messages throughout the race that these hards aren't going to last. Like they're 15 laps old and I'm really struggling out here. But most of the time, it's almost you only want me to do 50 laps on these, or it's that's nothing. Like I could do the next month of race weekends.
Yeah.
But to actually see them struggle, and it sort of makes me look forward to this upcoming weekend at Monaco with the Force 2 stopper to see how that actually goes. Whether they go step softer for this upcoming weekend to try and force drivers. Do you know what this setup with that is? Do they have to use every single compound for Monaco?
I'm not sure, but I think you've still only got to use one different tyre compound, but it's just a two-stop compulsory. Yeah.
Well, a question off the rip then. Do you think that Pirelli or FIA should implement a tyre policy where teams have to use all three compounds throughout the course of a race?
Yeah, well, I've been having a bit of a think, and not in that specifically, but it's the tyres that are seeming to make a lot of the difference to the excitement of the race, and there needs to be something that kind of forces some better action, and whether it's that the tyres need to be softer so that they wear off quicker, or there needs to be a gap between the compounds, like a bigger gap, so that even hards aren't going to last 50 laps like you were kind of saying before. Or maybe it is like you say, maybe every team needs to use all three compounds, whichever race it is, so there gets a bit of a strategy in there. But I'm not exactly sure what the answer is for that, but I think Pirelli and F1 and drivers as well probably need to have a bit of input to see what can be done.
I think you've almost got a perfect strategy there, talking about different gaps in the tyre compound, and if you have to use soft, medium, hard, because on these tracks such as Monaco, Imola, where it is difficult to overtake, if you've got a massive tyre delta, you've got someone on a stint of older softs that are really barely hanging on, and you get someone to come on with a fresh set of, well, even if, say, older hards, fresh softs, like you're going to be so much quicker on those softs. So you probably can pull off overtakes on these tracks where it is difficult because you're going to be so much quicker. So then that spices up the racing, spices up the strategy on how you're actually going to run this race, and overall gives the viewers a better viewing product at the end of the day. So definitely on paper sounds good.
Yeah, it's always exciting when you start to see all the different compounds coming into play, and you look down the standings and there's a wide array of the different colours and compounds. So I think maybe it is that there's that gap, and that they're kind of forced to use each compound, because it just seems at the moment that they're so similar. Like even the mediums are lasting a long time, so that you can just about hang any tyre out for like almost the full race distance. And it's, there still needs to be that option, that the teams and drivers can decide to do that, but maybe a bit more risk involved with it. Like a risk of the tyre not lasting and just absolutely falling off a cliff, or the hards are that much slower per lap that you've really got to think about whether it's worth it. Like the track position, and obviously dirty air off the cars plays a massive factor as well. So maybe it's not fully answered in the tyres, and these new regs might help out with that a little bit. But yeah, I think maybe looking at a bit more of a gap so that the softs are so quick that you're tempted to use them, and mediums are a mid-ground, and hards are, that much slower that is it worth it trying to hang it out on a one-stop and see if a safety car pops up.
They certainly have a lot of strings to pull. It's just the call comes down to whether they want to do it. And I guess from the tyre standpoint as well, Pirelli's big on the environmental impact. So, they try and limit how many tyres are given to each team. So that's probably another reason why they can't sort of just go, you have to use softs, mediums, hards. That becomes a whole political thing in itself. But just back to the race, you briefly mentioned it. Ferrari, mate, had a rough qualifying coming in 11th and 12th.
At their home Grand Prix too. Absolute devastation from the fans.
Just, mate, they're in no man's land. It was, I'd heard a few F1 commentators saying that this is almost Ferrari's last chance to sort of really make an impact and see if they can sort of hang in this constructors fight. And yeah, to be out in Q2 is horrific.
Yeah, because I think it was a similar time to what McLaren started turning things around, but they were there and thereabouts with Red Bull and Verstappen, more to the point, last year. But Ferrari they seem off. I know they've got some major upgrades and they're working on things, but yeah, if they don't turn things around quickly, they could find themselves behind the Williams even.
The race pace come Sunday seemed solid enough, but it's just in quali trim, like they're not competitive, just not competitive at all.
No.
Reasonable recovery drives, I guess, 4th and 6th.
A little lucky with safety cars as well, but
yeah. But I mean, it says a lot when you're talking about Ferraris and you say 4th and 6th, like that's almost a decent job.
Yeah, and again, they were racing the Williams.
And Albon did a ripper of a job.
Yeah.
Could have potentially ended up on the podium. But yeah, there was that incident between Albon and Leclerc late in the race. Yeah. What was your take on that one, Freezer?
Love a bit of wheel-to-wheel racing, so it's great to see the moves happen, but you shouldn't just be able to force a driver off the track because of, you're at the apex before, or they didn't have enough of the car side by side or whatever. Like, I feel that whether you're defending or the attacking driver, that both cars should leave racing room. And that should be it. That's as simple as that rule needs to be. It doesn't need to be if they're at this point and that point and, but if this happens first, you're entitled to do this. And no, just defending or attacking, leave racing room. If a driver runs another one off, penalty. Doesn't matter if you're attacking, defending or whatever. Just race room. I think that's as simple as it needs to be.
I think you've absolutely nailed it there. Couldn't agree with you more. I know the racing regs are first to the apex and then you've got right away to that corner, but it doesn't leave the door open for quality wheel-to-wheel racing. And you can make a solid move, but if that driver's a little bit later on the brakes, then they've got the right to just push you off the track. I know that Leclerc did redress with Albon, but then through that little squabble, Albon lost the position to Hamilton. So then it becomes, yes, he sort of, Leclerc gave that position back, but Albon did still lose out. But you want to see, I don't know, you want as much space given to both drivers so you can see quality battling on track and not this Max Verstappen-esque moves, but it's still within the rules. You can only play to the handbook that you're given, but I feel like we sort of miss out on some quality battling.
Yeah, because then you get drivers like Albon that are performing very well and maybe even, well, definitely above expectation, but maybe even slightly above where that car kind of is expected to be, and getting disappointed for podiums. So that's the battles that you want to see unfold, the storylines, and you don't want that to be ruined by grey areas in regs.
We've been very serious so far, and we did just gloss over this, but Williams almost pulled off a podium.
Oh, it's fucking crazy.
Can you believe that?
This is the stuff that we've been talking about. Like, love to see it. Want to see old Williams back up where they belong.
I know I was super hyped going into the season, and I was very optimistic, but they've far exceeded my expectations at this point in the season. Insane.
Sainz top Q2. Like,
yeah, what was going on with that?
I thought we were fucking on for nearly a Sainz pole kind of scenario.
Mate.
When I saw him top Q2, I was like, fucking hell. Like, this isn't just a practice session. This is full quality runs, and he's topping it.
It's you love to see it. James Vowles seems like a top bloke. You want to see him reap the rewards, but yeah, what can Williams do this year?
Yeah, and from what us and probably a lot of others expected was that maybe Sainz would have been slightly outperforming Albon. So to see Albon clearing Sainz consistently, it's exciting to see one of two things. One, that maybe Albon's like finally being able to show his true potential, or secondly, that Sainz still has more to give. And it's probably a bit of both, in my opinion.
If you were to flip the points tallies for both these drivers and say Sainz was the one that was leading the charge, you'd go, yeah, this has played out exactly how we thought it would going into the season.
Yeah.
But Albon has just put on an absolute clinic. And yeah, like you say, if Sainz can start picking it up, because it's just been he's been a bit unlucky with strategy here and there and a few mistakes. I feel like after the second half of the season, he could very well come alive. And if Ferrari don't lift their game, they could be in a little bit of strife.
Oh, they've been some hot water.
But okay, so is it official? Is it official that Williams is the podcast team?
I think we could jump on that.
They are the best of the rest.
They're the best of the rest. They're outperforming. They're above expectation.
All things we try to be, but
yeah.
We may be performing a little more like Sainz to this point, but
yeah, we're striving for Albon.
I think, big things come for Williams. And I don't know about you, but I've noticed a lot of comments online, super hyped and stoked for Williams.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can understand it. When you see a team that's been down there for so long, bounce back, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I just love everything that they've got, or everything they're working on. Like you said, James Vowles, Albon and Sainz, all great people from what we can tell. Just seems unreal. And you can always hear Sainz very good with feedback. Like they were talking about one of the strategies at one stage, and they said Alex has done a 128 or whatever it was, or a 28.1 or whatever. And and Sainz said, well, if he's doing that, it's clearly a one-stop. Like, not like, whatever, or I'm quicker, or,
Brain went straight to...
Yeah. And I can't remember which race weekend it was either. Which one was it? The real wet one?
Australia, where he binned it.
Yeah.
And he was
so when he binned it in Australia, and he was on the pit wall and telling the mechanics and stuff when they needed to pit Alex, and that was his first major, high scoring points, and Sainz was actually contributing to the strategy and helping his team and his teammate, not just to go sulk in his locker room.
I think that says a lot about his character.
Yeah, doesn't it?
So let's jump over to Mercedes. An interesting weekend from them. George puts it on the second row, started third, and that was about the peak of their weekend.
Yeah, disappointing quali by the hometown hero. Invited his whole class or grade or whatever from school to come watch.
Teachers and
Yep.
all sorts.
Yeah, he saw all the girls posing with him, trying to use a bit of his fame for their Insta stories. And what was it? He rocked up to school in his sports car.
One of his, I don't know what it was, AMG,
Yeah.
GTS or something. 2 doors.
Yep, just
Merc
rocking
sports
up.
car.
And here, mate, go park that for me.
What a weird
Just
setup.
throw the keys to one of your teachers.
Absolutely insane.
There's a few I'd like to have done that too.
You can't even really imagine it, can you?
Nah.
You're absolutely hilarious. But yeah, so Antonelli, he struggled. What did he start? He got eliminated in Q2, didn't he? No.
13th?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't make it through to Q3. I think it was 13th. And then obviously DNF in the race.
Yeah, it seemed like an engine failure. Yeah, so he didn't really have a whole lot of pace in the race. And, I mean, he was holding Hamilton at bay, but, yeah, it wasn't really going anywhere. And then, yeah, the old engine failure by the looks of it and DNF'd. And then George started third and just, yeah, no pace throughout the race. And it had a solid battle there with Lando for a few laps, but once Lando got past him, Russell just seemed to tumble down the order and, finished 7th, which is, unlike their performances to this point of the season.
Yes, I think like a few others, got a little unlucky with the safety cars with when he'd pitted and what strategy they were on, but that's racing. At the end of the day, you actually have strategies to try and plan for safety cars. So Red Bull do seem to be quite good at that. And yep, they got lucky with Verstappen's pit stop, and McLaren were quite unlucky because Piastri had already pitted to try an alternate strategy. Norris was only like 8 or 9 seconds behind Verstappen and holding it pretty well. And as soon as he went into the pit, Ocon had his car troubles and had to pull off and brought out the virtual safety car, which played perfectly into Verstappen's hands because we were only watching the race thinking, oh, look, Norris has pitted. What's that going to do to the rest of it? Verstappen's really going to have to think about whether he pits. No, decision's made for him. Gets a cheap pit stop. So, yes, they did get lucky in that regards, but also that probably was part of their strategy to try and hang out and make the most of the clean air out in front.
And we can't really gloss over the fact of how quick that Red Bull was out in clean air. Piastri, even when he pitted, he had a little bit of traffic to work through. But even once he got through that, he wasn't making any inroads into the lead that Verstappen had. So that Red Bull in clean air was quicker than, the McLarens this weekend. Yeah,
it was hard one to catch. So I think, and that goes back to that move and the comment by Christian Horner. So it's, just win or crash, but also if he doesn't go for that move, he's probably not going to get another opportunity. So it just showed how critical it was to have that clean air and be able to build that lead.
Like on the flip side to that, if he didn't make that move going into turn 1, it probably would have been the exact same race, but Piastri would have been out in front. He would have been clean air. No one would have been able to get near him. Would have been game over. Yeah,
nearly would have just been McLaren 1-2 kind of thing. Because, Norris had a good lead there at the start, but obviously started a few positions back. Was he 4th, I think?
So does this raise the question, championship back on?
There's all those, isn't there? It's one of those where as soon as one driver starts winning, it's, their championship, whatever. But, I'm loving it. I'm just enjoying that. Yeah, Norris won a few. Verstappen's won a couple now. Piastri's won a handful. He's 3 in a row, and now it's obviously ended. But it's just exciting. I've got no doubt there's still going to be another 1 or 2 race winners, hopefully even a couple more. So all I can hope for is for things to continue, and even if it is the 2 McLarens and Max, this is entertaining already. So give me more.
And I mean, with Monaco coming up, that's a track where anything can happen.
Yeah, I think this one can come down to those entertaining quali laps, that pole position and hanging it out there. But then also, as you touched on prior, that they are doing the 2 stops now, so gives another little factor. It might just mean literally every team still goes on the same strategy, but still got to decide when to pit, and 2 chances of a shit pit stop.
And Monaco qualifying, personally, favourite session of the year. It's just wild.
Oh, it's an absolute ripper. Like, we both watched that on board of Leclerc's lap last year, the 360-degree camera, and that was just unreal. Like, you can't even fathom it.
Yeah, do yourself a favour and go and check that out if you haven't seen that. It's just, it's on another level.
Yeah, she's an eye-opener.
Last thing to cover from the Imola Grand Prix before jumping into our points tally from the weekend, Freezer.
Yeah.
Sonoda's shunt, mate.
Oh, mate. How fucking big was that?
Like, the car was pretty rooted after we saw the crash. When the camera's all panned to it, and you're like, "Ooh, that doesn't look real good."
Yeah.
But then the replay, upside down off the barrier.
Oh, yeah. Because I was looking at it when it stopped, and obviously they panned to it. Dust is settling, and Sonoda's saying he's okay and getting out of the car, and they're like, "Oh yeah, looking back, making sure, seeing the damage is done." And I was trying to see where the tyre marks were. I was like, I can't see tyre marks through the gravel. Where's he entered? And dead set, I was trying to rack my brain so fucking hard. And because they were already on the car, I couldn't even picture which corner it was. And I was like, which way's he come from? There's the damage. No, he must have come that way. But there's no tyre marks. Then I was looking at the grass. Then I was looking at the barrier and thinking, oh, he's somehow hit into the barrier. Maybe it just hasn't really shown on the grass. And then they showed the replay, and oh my fucking God. No wonder he was up in the air, pretty much running over the barrier on his head. Just unbelievable.
Thank God for the halo.
Yeah. Best invention to Formula One that's saved his life.
Yeah, terrifying to think they used to race without those. But yeah, that halo literally took the whole impact of that vehicle, stopped him from copping it, and kept him in good nick so that he could race the next day. But if we, I guess if we take a step back from the crash itself, that puts a lot of pressure on Yuki.
Oh, doesn't it? What's that going to do to his seat? Question marks are going to start to be raised. He had a reasonably good recovery drive to end up in 10th, but had a bit of help there from the safety car.
I know it's early, but just because Red Bull have said that they'll give him the whole season doesn't mean that that's going to be the case.
We've seen what they're capable of, and even Alpine are doing Red Bull things now. So,
and you think, look at the sister team. Hadjar's started quite well. I don't think it's fully out of the realm of possibility that Hadjar carries on, has another good however many races, and if Yuki struggles, that they go, Yuki's not our man. Let's make the switch and see what happens.
Yeah, because I was hearing something when they when they replaced Doohan with Colapinto, and something about you're only allowed to have 2 driver changes per year, per season. But I think Red Bull have got the loophole because they're the same family, same entity, whatever, that, their contract must still just say Red Bull, and, they just, oh no, you're just getting in the second team this week, mate. Unlucky. Reserve. Should be right. But yeah, like you said, Hadjar has been putting in some good performances. Recovering well from the starts of the season in Australia. And, had a good start to this weekend. A little bit unlucky as well with safety car, but, he still finished all right, pretty respectable. So, Yuki, might want to watch your back, mate.
Pressure building.
But yeah, hate to see that because, don't want to constantly talk about whether someone's going to get replaced and I'd love to see Yuki do well. So hopefully he can maintain it and keep up the pace and do well in that seat.
No mistakes come qualifying Monaco.
No, hopefully not.
See how it pans out. But I guess we should jump over to our points, or lack of points in my case, from the weekend.
Yeah, I didn't do too much better on that one, to be completely honest.
So to quickly run through our predictions going into this weekend, I had Norris on pole, which was wrong.
I had Russell on pole, which was also wrong.
And the podium, I had Norris to win.
I had Leclerc to win. No good.
Piastri second for me. Missed by one.
Also second for me.
And Verstappen third.
And I had Norris third.
So yeah, we had no luck there.
No, we were both pretty close in some respects and a few ran the wrong way and yeah, couldn't quite get her.
Donuts at the end of the day.
Left to field, big dog.
Aston, double points. And I thought I was on with the qualifying result, but yeah, race day not to be.
Yeah, that quali, they were looking hot for that. I tell you what, thought your man Stroll was going to deliver for you. Did they get any points in the end?
No.
Fuck.
Alonso 11th.
Shit. Well, my left to field was Colapinto points, so that wasn't much closer.
Well, I had Colapinto as a DNF risk, which I also thought, well, it could be on here with his big shunt that he had in quali, was it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was... What was that? It must have been at the end of Q3, but went through to Q2 with the time that he'd set before the crash. But then I'm pretty sure he got a one-place grid penalty anyway for causing a red flag. Because he started 16th, and they set a grid penalty, and I'm just assuming that's what it was for.
Yeah, right.
But my DNF risk was Ocon. So I got one nice little measly point there for an engine failure.
He come through for you, mate.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks, Hass.
Does seem to be a bit of a common theme with the old Ferrari power units as of late.
Yeah.
Pop.
Yeah, a couple of... is that like the third in 2 races?
Yeah, I think it is.
Shit. Have a look into that, Ferrari.
Might have to remember that one for the next lot of predictions.
Pencil that down.
Right. Well, I don't have anything else to add. What about you?
No, I'll just quickly have a look at what that does to our overall points tally. So if Sticks gets 0...
Yeah, right.
Freezer
so I'm
gets 1.
Still stuck on a total of 8.
Oh, don't change that one.
You've moved up to 12, mate, so you've got a bloody little bit of a sizable lead on me here.
Look out. 12 to 8. 4 points.
Struggling. Also, yeah, sort of going shit. What are we, seven races in?
It's kind of good, though, if you think about it. If you're not getting, well, unless you just don't know fuck all, but... I'm going to take it as a point of the races have just been that entertaining and kind of unpredictable that you can't just go, say, McLaren's 1-2 and Verstappen third kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll flash back to start last year where it was okay. You're going to be stupid not to put Max to win. Yeah,
or say even 23 where it was Verstappen, Perez, and then who?
Yeah.
And we ended up going to 5 places just to try and make things a little entertaining. But anyway.
Formula One's in a good place. And on that note, it's time to box.
Righto, time to retire today's episode. If you liked us, hit follow, like, share it, subscribe, and share it with another F1 fan. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you, legends.
Bye.
Look at this. This is not a dog. This is a piece of shit.